There are larger private homes in America. There are louder ones, more photographed ones, more romanticized ones. But very few historic houses of this scale remain intact, public, and fully walkable. Even fewer were never abandoned, never stripped, never carved into apartments, never hollowed out for profit. This house still breathes. 110 rooms, more than 88,000 square feet, 5 full floors, 32 fireplaces. But Meadow Brook Hall was never built to impress strangers. It was built to hold responsibility. And to understand why this house exists and why you can still walk through it today, you have to understand a moment in American history when industrial power reached its peak, and one woman chose not to keep it. Welcome back to Homes of Michigan. This series is about permanence, not wealth alone, but how wealth expresses itself through architecture, land, labor, and time. Every home we explore is a case study, not in luxury, but in intention. And Meadow Brook Hall may be the most intentional home ever built in this state. By the early 20th century, Michigan was no longer regional. It was global. Detroit had become the center of automobile manufacturing, a magnet for labor and capital, and a testing ground for modern efficiency. Factories reshaped time itself. The assembly line reshaped labor. Mass production reshaped society. And behind that transformation were not just visionaries, but builders, precision engineers, suppliers, industrialists who made modern life possible. Among the most important were John and Horace Dodge. They were not marketers, they were machinists. Before Ford could scale the Model T, it was Dodge engines and Dodge transmissions that made mass production reliable. By the time the Dodge Motor Company launched its own automobiles, the brothers were already industrial royalty. Then, in 1920, both men died, within months of each other. Their deaths marked the end of Michigan's founding industrial generation, and the beginning of a very different kind of legacy. The true force behind Meadow Brook Hall was Matilda Dodge Wilson. At a time when women were rarely acknowledged as architects of legacy, Matilda controlled one of the largest fortunes in America. But she rejected spectacle. She believed wealth was not something to display, it was something to administer. Her life was shaped by philanthropy, education, healthcare, and the creation of public institutions. She viewed wealth as temporary custody, not ownership. When she commissioned Meadow Brook Hall in 1926, she did not imagine it as a retreat from society. She envisioned a working estate, a civic anchor, and a place designed to become something else someday. That philosophy shaped every architectural decision that followed. This Tudor Revival style was not nostalgic decoration. English country houses symbolized stewardship, lineage, and responsibility to land. Meadowbrook translated these ideals into an American industrial context. Construction ran from 1926 to 1929, completed just as the Great Depression began. This house does not represent excess before collapse. It represents confidence before uncertainty. Meadowbrook's genius is not its size. It's in its discipline. The house is organized through axial sightlines, graduated room scales, and deliberate separation of function. Grand halls never lead directly into bedrooms. Formal rooms always buffer intimate ones. The house teaches you how to move. This is architecture as choreography. Nothing here is accidental. Every room at Meadowbrook had a job. Dining rooms reinforced hierarchy. Libraries signaled intellectual authority. Drawing rooms controlled social energy. Fireplaces were not decorative. They were spatial anchors. Each hearth is scaled precisely to its room's purpose. No two are identical. Behind the walls, servant staircases, service corridors, hidden mechanical systems. Labor was always present, but never visible. Efficiency shaped domestic life just as it shaped factories. At its height, Meadowbrook encompassed more than 1,400 acres. This was not landscaping, it was land management. The estate included agricultural operations, livestock facilities, tenant housing, and both formal and informal gardens. Unlike Fairlane's openness, Meadowbrook emphasized containment and order. The land mirrored industrial discipline. In 1957, Matilda Dodge Wilson donated Meadowbrook Hall and vast surrounding acreage to the state of Michigan. That gift helped establish Oakland University. Few American estates of this scale were ever given away intact. This was not tax strategy. It was philosophy. The house transitioned from private residence to public institution without losing its integrity. That is extraordinarily rare. Today, Meadowbrook Hall is a National Historic Landmark, one of the most intact large estates in the United States, and an educational and cultural institution. It was never abandoned, never stripped, never hollowed out. Its survival is not accidental. It is the result of foresight. Meadowbrook endures because it was never just a house. It was a plan, a belief that power should outlive individuals, that architecture should serve the future, that legacy is measured not in ownership, but in access. You can still walk through Meadowbrook because someone decided you should. That decision is the real monument. I'm Chris Hubble. This is Homes of Michigan. And this is Meadowbrook Hall.